today I'm going to be showing you how to needle felt this beautiful little wool pumpkin. So thank you for joining me today, and let's get to it. Okay, I'm going to start by showing you the materials that you'll need. You'll need a felting mat. This one's made of 100% wool, but you can find them made of foam, or there's a flat one that's like a brush that works really well. I like this one because it's all natural fibers. So, felting mat, felting needle, which this one I believe is just a standard 36 gauge triangular tip felting needle, but you don't have to get technical with this. Just use what you have. It doesn't need to be very fine for this project. I have a felting pen. You don't need one of these. This just houses 3 felting needles. But you can make do with just one single one. I just like to use this sometimes. And a pair of scissors. I'm going to be using these scissors to cut my pipe cleaner, which is the last thing that you'll need, pipe cleaner. Just a standard size for crafting. I'm not going to be using my nice sewing scissors to cut the pipe cleaner, so I'm just using regular, I think this is one of my kids' scissors. We don't want to dull up these sewing needles by cutting a pipe cleaner. So I'll go ahead and show you the wool. Okay, as you can see, I've made this pumpkin with a mix of orange, yellowy gold, and red. And then the stem is dark green, and the little tendril is a light kind of variegated. So that's what I have here. I have some red, really beautiful. I'll link this down below. Red wool roving, orange, a flaxen, and this I'll use for the tendril. It's a really beautiful multicolored hand painted wool, but you don't have to use that. You can just use whatever green that you have or that you'd like to use. And it looks like I forgot to grab my dark green that I used on the stem, so I'll go ahead and pause this and go grab that in a second. But I just wanted to show you the core wool that I'll be working with, which I was really lucky and blessed to get this gifted to me from a friend. Thank you so much, Anastasia. That was so thoughtful of you. This is just perfect core wool. So since it was gifted to me, I can't really link it down below since I'm not sure where my friend got it, but really any wool will work for the middle of the pumpkin, and I can link some other core wool down below so you can get some of that. So I'm going to go grab my dark green that I'll use on the stem, and we'll get started. Okay, so I got my dark green that I'll use later for the stem, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by taking my core wool. This piece is probably about as long and wide as my forearm, and you can use bigger or smaller piece depending on how big you want your pumpkin to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half, and then I'm going to try to fold it in half lengthwise, like this. And then I'm going to take my orange and I'm going to add a layer to the outside, because with this pumpkin I made the core and then I layered these pieces over the top, but in some spots that gray core might peek through. So in this one I'm going to do a layer of orange so that's not peeking through. So I'll get the length of my orange, whoops, a little longer than that. Like this. And like I said, this is just going to be underneath, so it doesn't have to be totally smooth. And I'm going to layer it like this and kind of fold it over the core. So if I turn it over, the core wool is covered. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very loosely felt this here. This will be the inside of the pumpkin. And just down the length of this, just to anchor it down a little bit. You're not going to be able to see this because it'll be in the middle of the pumpkin, so. Okay, and then I'm going to fold this so the ends meet. Do it like this. Just like that. Or you can go ahead and roll it up like this. And it is okay if a little bit of your core wool is showing. You can always adjust this orange. It's okay if some of the core wool is showing, because like I said, these strips are going to be mostly covering it. So it's just in case a little of the core wool peeks through that we have an orange layer. So I've rolled it up like this. And I'm just going to go ahead and felt the end so it's attached. Like that. And as you can see, it's looking kind of rough, and that's okay. We just want the general shape. So we now have this rolled up piece. I'm going to kind of widen the hole in the middle. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking strips and rolling them up and attaching them in to the top and the bottom. And the bottom, since, you know, it will be sitting like this, it's okay that if it's felted pretty tightly all together. I'll show you as we go along. But we want the top to have quite a bit of space in here because it starts getting crowded. So just make sure you have a nice hole in the middle. And now we're going to take our orange, yellow, and red, and I'm going to start making our strips. So just take a strip. You'll want it long enough to go around like this. And I'm going to do mostly orange because I have a lot of orange. I don't want to run out of my flaxen golden color or my red, so I'll take orange and a little bit of gold and a little bit of my red. And I'm going to loosely twist like this. And once I get a nice twist, I'm going to, oh, this piece is really wants to be in the frame. I'm going to go ahead and felt this right in to the center. on the top and the bottom. I'm going to try to get it down into the center. Okay, just like that. And now we're going to do it again. So I'll take just a small strip of each color. I'm going to try to make these so they're not too long because I don't want the extra length to be felted into the middle. I want to try to get them each the same length. So I'm loosely twisting it. I'm laying it beside my first one. And I'm felting it into the bottom. And then into the top. Okay, and as you can see, this one's twisted a little bit more tightly than this one. That's okay. It will give the pumpkin more of a nice texture to it if these, if they vary in size. So we don't want a completely symmetrical pumpkin because pumpkins aren't completely symmetrical. So I'm going to do this again. Get some more orange. I'm just layering these, and sometimes when I twist them, since I don't have a lot of the red, and I might want that red to show, I'll kind of twist it so the red is on the outside a little bit, peeking through. Whoops. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to continue to twist strips of color together and felt them right into the middle. Until we've covered the whole thing. And toward the end, it will start to get a little crowded in the middle. I kind of go in and push the centers together, try to make a hole in there so I have room. And if there's any showing in between, that's okay, we'll fix that later. So go ahead and continue to cover it with these twisted pieces until your whole core is covered. And I'll go ahead and do the same, and I'll meet you back here when I'm done. Okay, so I finished adding my little twisted pieces all around. And I really love how it turned out. I like it better than the first one I had made. They're both pretty though. So, what I did in this one that I don't really need to do in my newer one, because I had added that layer of orange underneath, is I went around, and you can do this if you have some skinnier pieces that you kind of, that could be wider to cover up some gaps, or if it would just look better. And you can go ahead and pull them gently like this to make them a little more loose, and that could give it some more texture and depth too. So once you have your pumpkin the way that it's looking, if you or the way that you would like it to look, if you need to add some more strips or go ahead and separate some of these, do that, and then we can move on to making the stem. So I have my dark green, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a strip like so, a little longer than my hand, pretty thin, and I'm just going to roll it up. Just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and felt it just to secure the end. I know it's hard for you to see, it's almost the same color as this teal felting mat. And I'm going to go ahead and roll it. And I can feel that it's starting to firm up. And now I'm going to, very carefully so I don't stab myself, go ahead and felt the end just like this. Going around in a circle. My camera just turned off there for a second. So I'm going around until I like the way that looks, that it's kind of flat on the end, like a pumpkin that has come off the vine. And if this is longer than you like it, you can go ahead and cut this. Let me see. I really like that. So I'm just going to push it in. I still have a hole in the middle of mine. I'm just going to push it right into that hole. Oh, I like that. This one I had made a really long stem. This one I have a shorter stem. And I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to hold the stem so it doesn't just go straight into the pumpkin and disappear in there, and just felt down into the base of it, not being very careful where I'm securing it. Pull it out a little bit. If you would like your stem to lean to the side, what I do is where you want that curve to be, you just go ahead and felt down into the part that you want curved, like this. And it will curve. So I like the way that looks. Short little stem. It seems secure in there. Now we're going to be making the little curly tendril. So I have my pipe cleaner, and I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half and probably fold it into quarters and cut 1/4 of it off, a quarter of the pipe cleaner. You can make this as long as you want. You could make it very long. I think that would look nice too. Go ahead and cut it. And now I'm going to take my beautiful, I could just use this. I like the contrast of using a lighter green. So I'm just going to take a little strip of that, maybe a little more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the end, and I'm going to wrap just a segment of the end. And then I'm going to fold this in half. You don't have to do it like that. I just like to do it like that so the pipe cleaner's not sticking out. Just like that. And I'm just going to continue to wrap all the way down. I'm getting to the end and I have this piece. I'm just going to keep wrapping, pulling those small fibers and wrapping them until it's all wrapped around, and those small fibers will secure this. Okay, so this is going to be the part that's sticking up, the part that you'll see, this end piece. And what you can do is you can wrap it around your finger, or you can wrap it around a pencil, or whatever works for you to get that little curled up piece. And what I do, this is coming undone a little bit. What I do is I simply poke it in near the stem, and that's all I do. You could hot glue if you like, fabric glue. You could make this longer and really poke it in there. If you have this end hanging off, like I could loosen this and felt it into here. You know, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna take my single felting needle. And you have to be really careful when you're working with pipe cleaners and felting needles, because it's very easy to break the tip off the felting needle if you stab it into the pipe cleaner, into the metal. So I'm just very carefully felting it in like that. And I think I'm actually going to make another little tendril, a longer one. I'll use this. I had folded the pipe cleaner in half. I'm going to use that half. Looks like I dropped. Oh, no, here it is. Have my green. Going to do the same thing where I'm just wrapping the end. And then folding it. And then wrapping it. So the end of the pipe cleaner is covered. And then I'm just going to continue to wrap it. All the way down. This is the same way I do the hands and the arms for the goddesses that I make. And I have a video tutorial on how to make a fall inspired goddess, which I can link below if you want to make one of those. It's the same kind of technique that I use. Okay, now I have a pen here. I'm going to wrap it around a pen and see how that looks. Oh, it looks really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this down on the other side. And I will take my single felting needle and very carefully felt it in. And I am done. I really like the way that one turned out. I would love to see how yours turned out. If you'd like to send me some pictures or if you comment below, I would really love your feedback. If you have any questions, need clarification, or anything, go ahead and comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure creating with you. Bye!